Hi, everybody. My name's Liz Corcoran from the Southwark Charismatic Renewal Team, and I am joined by my team member, Kristina Cooper. Hi, Kristina.
Hi.
We're here today to talk about something a little bit different, not an event or one of our awesome courses that we have run over the years, but we're going to talk about your special project that has been close to your heart for a few years now. And a new book is out. You are an author, and you're here to tell us a little bit more about the books that you've created. So that's great. What's the name of the book?
Okay, so the new book is called, can you see this? Esmeralda, can you see this? Esmeralda, yeah. I don't know. Esmeralda and the Readies. Okay, and the first book, which this is because the blue one is just out. The first one was called The Little Witch Who Wanted to Be Good.
Aha.
Yeah, so you might think that's a little bit strange for a Christian Catholic writer to be writing about witches, have a witch as a main character. And I know that some strong Catholics have been a bit concerned about that, but there is a reason behind that. And basically, it was because I was concerned as a writer myself. I was concerned by the way language was losing its meaning. And I don't know if you yourself have noticed that, that if you went to a great party, people would say, oh, it was a wicked party. And if there was you're going out with a guy and you say, oh, he's so bad. And that meant that he was very attractive. I mean, perhaps a bit edgy, and like words like edgy have become, it's a really edgy film, and that's what they're kind of promoting. Whereas if it's family entertainment, you're thinking, oh, that's like bland and naff, and even like words like goody two shoes. It kind of puts goodness in a negative light. And I feel that starts actually to affect, the children that we're bringing up, because they start feeling embarrassed about, goodness, being good. And they need all the support they can get. And I was thinking, how can I make goodness cool? So it seemed like a big task.
A challenge.
Yeah. So I came up with the idea then of making goodness rebellious, So to stand up for goodness is actually being rebellious, because if you think about it in our culture now, the way Christian values are being airbrushed out, if you stand for Christian values, you're actually being rebellious against the culture, so you need to sort of teach kids early on to stand up for things.
Yeah, very true. So tell us a little bit about the main character in the series.
Okay, so Esmeralda, she basically is an orphan witch who is brought up by her two aunts, Aunt Hepzibah and Aunt Agatha, and they're training her to be a bad witch, to put curses on children and turn milk sour and do the kind of fairy tale things that witches do. And she rebels and says, I don't want to do it. I want to be good and kind. And they're just furious about it. So she's always getting into trouble. So basically, each story looks at a different kind of issue, really. I mean, I know in the first book, one of the stories that really touched children, which I found quite interesting, that people are even at a young age, worried about their appearance. And there's like an image of what is the right way to look. So it's just a very simple story. But in the story, Esmeralda finds a book of spells to make people beautiful. And she thinks, oh, well, this is surely a good spell. And so it's okay. Anyway, her little friends who have issues about the way they look, one's got ginger curly hair and another's got, sticking out ears. They want to be turned into beautiful princesses. And so she does the spell and turns them into beautiful princesses. But when they go home, nobody recognizes them.
Wow.
And they then come running back and want to turn back into what they look like. And this has really touched children,
Mhm.
you know,
That's
because,
lovely.
you know, so it's quite a simple story, but and I think that all of the stories are quite simple stories, so they can be read at different levels, like a parable. But I've also tried to introduce a bit of observational comedy, you know, so like she gets told off for having a tidy bedroom and she has to untidy her bedroom. So yeah, but kids really, really love it. And I find that they get the message. They know it's about being good. I mean, even with the latest one, what one of the kids said, it would make people who are mean be nice and kind. I didn't tell, you know, that's what the kids said when she read the, you know, the book.
That's lovely. You've done they've had market research as well. So they've gone out to children. What's the kind of age range that you think is ideal for your book?
I would say probably the ideal age range is probably, my target, I suppose, would be probably 7, 8, 9 kind of age. But what I found is that loads of people like it. I mean, my next door neighbor, who's a 21-year-old Muslim boy, loves it. And many people that I've given it to you know, pass on to their grandchildren have read it beforehand and enjoyed it, you know. So it's because it's written a bit like a fairy tale, you know, like a morality tale, but I've made it up to date with the way it's written. I think it appeals to all ages, actually, and particularly with the illustrations, because they're quite funny.
Yeah, they are great. And I know my daughter enjoyed the illustrations.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, so out of this, Esmeralda has joined this little group in the book called the Readies. So tell us, what are the Readies and why is some of the symbolism kind of special to us as Catholics?
Well, okay, so the story was originally Esmeralda wanted to become a brownie. But my niece, who was doing the illustrations, said, you better check with the brownies that you can use them. And I was like, what? And she said, they might be a protected brand where you can't mess with them. You have to ask their permission. So I got in touch with them. And yes, in fact, I would need to sign a legal contract. But one of the things, and I realized they wouldn't like the story, because the brownies originally had God in the brownie promise. It used to say, you know, on my honor, I promise I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to help other people at all times, and to obey the brownie law. So I suppose it perhaps was a bit more emphasis on duty, but anyway, it was definitely, you know, God was in there. And then more recently, they've changed it. They've taken God out in an aim probably to be more inclusive. All these things are done, you know, from good reasons. But it now says, I promise that I will do my best to be true to myself and develop my belief. So it's the sign of just total relativism. You know, it's like, and that's why the children are so confused, because how can they develop their belief? What is their belief based on? On cartoons that they're getting from Disney? I mean, how are they going to develop their belief? So I then thought, I'm going to have to create my own organization, so to speak. And because some of the characters were already done, I thought I'm going to keep the same look, but I just changed the color of the uniform and make it red and call it something else. And I thought, I know, I'll call them the Readies, wearing red and ready to help others. And then I thought, okay, so I'm going to have to come up with a different terminology. Instead of brown owl, I'll have to come up with something else. So I thought, so a friend said, oh, what about ladybird? And I thought, well, that's nice, you know, red and bright. So Chief Ladybird. And then I said, oh, we better just look up and see if it's got any bad connotations, you know, because like if you said red fox, that has a bit kind of, a fox has got slightly.
Yeah.
So we looked up, and ladybirds are actually named after the Blessed Virgin Mary. Lovely. And the 7 spots are the 7 sorrows and the 7 joys of Our Lady. But after the Reformation, so many things like plants, which were called Our Lady's, slipper or whatever, they were changed. The R was taken away and it just became lady's slipper. So it used to be Our Lady's bird, but now it's just ladybird.
Wow.
So it's the way that culturally, as I said, since the Reformation, Catholic terminology was just airbrushed out. As I said, language is very, very important. You think it doesn't affect you, but it does.
It really does. So if people want to learn more, they can head over to the website, which is the Readies Club, which I've got open there, and that's how you spell Readies. And you can learn about the characters a bit more and order copies of the book. You're just in time for Christmas, right, Kristina?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I can say that my daughters enjoyed it, and it has been tested on groups of children, and they all have come back to Kristina with great feedback, and they have really enjoyed the book. So I hope that some more of you out there will take the leap and learn more about Esmeralda and her adventures to be a bad witch, which means to be good. So
Amen.
amen. Thank you so much, Kristina, for telling us more about your work as an author.
Thank you.